UFC 304 is this weekend. Edwards versus Muhammad 2. We've got your full fight card breakdown coming up. We're going to touch a little bit on the betting. I know you guys are all excited for the massive finishing potential in this main event, but we've got some great fights ahead. Don't go anywhere. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the 10-7 MMA. I'm your boy DS, and I'm here with my guy, per usual, the squeeziest of them all, Dino Bam Bam. What up, my boy?
DS, how you feeling, bro? How you doing tonight?
I'm feeling all right, man. I'm feeling all right. You know, obviously it's a special occasion, UFC 304. You know, I'm sipping on a little bit of Bombay today, just so you know.
Hey,
oh shit.
You already know the vibes.
Shit.
You know the vibes. We're in England with it. We got to sip the London Dry Gin, even though we are in Manchester this weekend. But
you know what they say?
What do they say?
When in Manchester, do as the Manchesterians do.
The Manchesterian Candidate, one of my favorite novels of all time.
I love me some Denzel, and I know for a goddamn fact you ain't read that shit. You might have watched the movie with Denzel in it.
I saw the movie in class, I'm pretty sure. You know, like when they force you to fucking watch the movies based on what you're reading. I'm not reading that shit.
Yeah, but when that hitter fucking was rolled in, brother, you know you were fucking pumped, though.
Oh,
when they rolled that little raggedy-ass TV, the 22-inch TV in, you're sitting
on
like 8 rows back, but you're still like, let's fucking go, dude.
What a great time. Great days.
Whole time it's like a movie about the bombing of Hiroshima and shit. But You're like, let's fucking go. You couldn't have been more excited.
Better than class, bro. Better than class. But anyways, Dino, UFC 304. We got 14 fights, brother, on the docket. I'm stealing a little bit of your thunder, but that's a lot of fights to be on one docket. And
wait, what even is a docket?
I don't know, but shout out Darnell Dockett, former Florida State Seminole, Arizona Cardinal. Hope he's doing well in life. Yeah, I have no idea what a
calendar or a list of cases.
Boom. So 14 things on the calendar here. That's what we got going on this Saturday. But anyways, before we get into that, guys, do us a favor. Do like the thing at the bottom that just appeared is telling you to do. Like and subscribe. That's going to help support our channel, and we would really appreciate that. Then also, next to the subscribe button, there's this little bell icon, okay? I'm going to want you to click that bell, and when you click that bell, do you know what happens?
That motherfucker will be like, what's up, bitch? Thanks for the follow.
That's basically what the bell does. In essence, in a nutshell, that's what the bell does. So do that. That's going to notify you when our videos drop. Then you can also do like this new thing at the bottom says and follow us on Instagram and TikTok. You don't really have to follow us on TikTok. Nothing's going on there. But the 10-7 MMA, regardless, follow us. We got cool fighters with us, or cool pictures with us and fighters and stuff like that. Dino, I am ready.
I thought I was also going to instruct them to bust it open on the bottom. I thought we talked about that, and I don't see that on the ticker, brother.
I thought that was going to be later on in the episode kind of thing.
For sure. All right, let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right into it, and we're starting off the fuck hot. I'm talking about the first fight of the night. It's Shauna Bannon. Who else? She's taking on Alice Ardeline. If you don't know Alice Ardeline, you're a casual. Dino Bam Bam, what do you think about this fight?
First of all, you said we're coming in hot, Dino. We are coming in hot. These are two nice, attractive ladies, so that's always good to see. But we will start with...
She looks a little too stiff.
That's fine. Things happen, you know. But look, Shauna Bannon. Let's start with Mama B, all right? 5-1. The Bannon. Look, she's 5-1, Dino. She's a striker, good pressure, always moving forward. Very damn tough and physically strong. Last time out in her UFC debut, she lost to yo girl Bruna Brasil, who we're going to be seeing later on in this card.
She's not my girl.
And we saw Shauna Bannon get taken down a little too much for my liking in that fight. That seems to be her weakness. She is facing Alice Ardelan, who is from Romania, okay? Romania. Shout out the Romanian fans that we have, if we have any. But she is apparently huge in Romania. You know, she's big on TikTok. She's big on OnlyFans. She has millions of followers across social media.
Oh, really? Really?
So she's one of them, all right? Short notice here. She's a solid striker.
Doing the deep dive.
Hey, brother, I haven't seen the photos yet. I'm going to investigate after this. So I will be texting you and letting you know what I find on Miss Ardelan over here, okay?
Bet.
There we go. So, yeah, she's taking this on short notice. She is a solid striker. Similar to Shauna Bannon, she's always willing to move forward, and she's always very, very busy. Kind of a weird record, Dino, a weird resume, 9-5 in her career with early losses in her career on the regional circuit to Diana Belbita and one Zhang Wei Li. So that's interesting. Since the Wei Li loss, however, she is 5-0 in like a span of like 7 or 8 years. I really don't know what to make of this fight. On the one hand, you have like the OnlyFans girl, and you usually want to fade them. Then we got Mama B, who I don't necessarily love. I'm just going with the newcomer. Plus 180, Dino, seems solid. Shauna Bannon ain't all that. I'm going to take some risk off the bat and go Alice Ardalan by decision. And then if she wins, I'm definitely subbing to the OF.
Yeah, I mean, look, we don't have a ton to go off of here, right? For either fighter, Shauna Bannon, you know, she didn't look like awful her last fight. You know, not that she fought very high level competition. I mean, let's be honest. Bruna Brasil, obviously also fighting on this card. Somebody who I thought, based off her Dancing with the Stars, a.k.a. Dana White's Contender Series fight, I thought she was going to be great.
That's your girl.
Definitely not my girl. But, yeah, clearly she's not who I thought she was. Maybe you thought less of her. Maybe she was on the way to be my girl. She could have been my girl based off that one performance. But, yeah, Alice Ardalan, bro, she didn't even have a fight scheduled. The last time she fought was in August of last year against none other than Delia Suyapa. And if you don't know Delia Suyapa, you're a casual. She was 0-3. She's 0-3. Okay, at the time, she was 0-3. Her win before that against a 2-0 opponent, sure. She's on like a 7-fight win streak. 0-3, 2-0, 0-1, 3-4, 3-0, right? Like, okay, sure. You got to the second round with Wei Li. Fine. But I'm still going to go with Shauna, man. I just think she's the physically stronger fighter, and I expect her to be a little bit more well-rounded. They're both kind of well-rounded. Listen, if you really, again, this is one of those that I always say, if you're pretending to really know what the fuck's going to happen here, you're full of shit. But I'm going to go Shauna Bannon by decision. Not a particularly high confidence pick. And for the love of God, I don't think I need to say it. Keep your money in your pocket on this one. We're not betting this.
Oh, brother, I'm betting it. I'm betting it. You know why, Dino? Just because if I win on the OF girl, it gives me more reason to look into her content and subscribe to it. That's the only reason.
Well,
I want to act like she paid me.
Wow, okay. Put down whatever she charges. That's a unit, right? You're almost going to double it. Boom. You got a month and a half, like a month and 3/4 type shit. Free subscription.
So I'm looking up some of the photos right now. Great,
also,
great.
I just want to say,
great assets.
Wait, say it again.
Assets. Said I'm looking up some of the photos right now. Some great assets on the girl.
Oh yeah. Is she showing like full puss or like what? Like what are we talking about?
From a quick Google search, I saw some booty in a thong, but we're gonna deep dive later on. Here.
My guy, I've seen you wear pretty much that in football practice. So anyway, let's move on. Next fight of the night, and again, we're keeping it rolling, baby. It's fucking sexy in here. It's hot. I'm talking about Mick Parkin versus Łukasz Brzeski. This is just another banger of a fight. Where the fuck did my notes just go, bro? Did I just trashed my notes on accident? Yeah, listen, man. This is not a very high level fight. But you know, if you're just going off records, you would be surprised to know that Mick Parkin has like damn near one of the longest win streaks in the heavyweight division. We can't say the same for Łukasz Brzeski. He beat Walter Walker. You know, we didn't really know what to make of Walter Walker. The dude had absolutely no cardio, absolutely no fight in him. So, you know, that fight didn't really tell us anything new about Łukasz Brzeski, let's be honest. He lost to absolute fan enemy Waldo Cortez Acosta, lost to Carl Williams, lost to Martin Buday. He's losing to the worst fighters in the UFC. This guy is not long for the UFC. Mick Parkin at least trains at a high level team. He's still undefeated. He's not like a spring chicken, right? He's 28 and 9 months. But I feel like
chicken, Dino. We're Liverpool.
Chicken?
Yeah.
He's eating chicken, lad. Chicken. Yeah, Mick Parkin, though, trains with Aspinall, you know, actually has a decent team around him. He's pretty well rounded. You know, he's never impressed me in a fight, but Łukasz Brzeski hasn't impressed me and he's losing, right? So for me, I expect Mick Parkin to land some shots on the outside. Łukasz Brzeski, I think Mick Parkin really, you know, I'm not super confident, right? I mean, fairly confident here, I'd say, but Mick Parkin really, he's the better grappler, he's a better wrestler. because Lucas Bresky was, yes, he won the fight versus Walter Walker, but he was still taken down pretty easily at times. Mick Parkin, he's pretty pillow-fisted for a heavyweight. He's not the biggest heavyweight. Well, he weighed in 262.5 last fight, but he just doesn't look it, right? He just doesn't really look like a true heavyweight. He just looks kind of like a thick-ass light heavyweight or middleweight. But anyway, I'm going to go with Mick Parkin. For me, a decision, if you're talking about betting, a decision is pretty much all but guaranteed here. But I'm going to take Mick Parkin. Medium amount of confidence on this one.
Yeah, I'm fairly confident in this one. I am also going Mick Parkin by decision. And it's not that I don't like Lucas Bresky. It's not that, he's very well-rounded, right? He's got decent power, some nice spinning attacks. Like, he's solid enough to be a part of the UFC heavyweight division. Like you said, he's been beaten up on some of the bottom feeders. Mick Parkin, really nothing to write home about, right? You see the 9-0 record, and you're like, wow, this might be a guy to look out for in the heavyweight division, but he's just not.
Certainly not. Yeah, certainly not that.
Yeah, he's just not dangerous at all, man. He likes to jab and get out of the way, slow the fight down. That's pretty much his game. And it looks like we've been seeing a lot of that in the heavyweight division lately. These guys coming into the UFC, undefeated records or really good records, and you're like, wow, this might be a guy that can finally, pump some life into this division. And it's just not the case. They fight different than the heavyweights, used to fight, or heavyweights we're used to in general, from boxing back in the day, MMA back in the day. So I don't know, man. He's, I guess, somewhat athletic for a big dude. He's got decent takedowns, decent jiu-jitsu, decent grappling. But I just think he wins this fight in boring fashion and gets himself a decision. I don't see Lucas Bresky winning this one at all.
Yeah, I think there is some value, honestly, in the odds. I feel like they could be a little bit higher.
Yeah, Mick Parkin, like minus 300 seems about right. But, yeah, it is what it is. I'm confident betting this to go the distance as well. So Mick Parkin by decision. I got to look up those props. Maybe a little teaser, guys. Maybe that'll be on Dino's little parlay video that he intends to drop tomorrow. Like and subscribe and ring the little bell for that. Dino, can you show him the corn? You have the corn with you?
Oh, shoot. If y'all not bet with us, y'all might not be getting corn like this, brother.
Look at that
y'all
corn,
might not be getting, you know what that is? That's like $260, brother. All right?
Guys,
do most adults have that amount in their pocket or in their checking account? Sure. But I withdrew it. All right. Anyway, moving on. Next fight of the night. We're keeping it going, right, with the theme. If you haven't figured out, it's a UK-themed card. Next fight of the night is Sam Patterson. He has taken on Kiefer Crosby. Bam Bam, take it away, brother.
All right, we got Sam Patterson. He's tall as shit. And then we've got Sam Patterson is really damn tall. He's 11'2".
He's not that tall.
He's tall for the division, He's really tall for the division, and he looks tall.
No, I'm saying like Sam Patterson, he's tall as shit. Kiefer Crosby, he's slightly less tall.
Right, so. And that's the breakdown. So who you got? No, I'm just playing. But look, Sam Patterson is really tall for the division. 11-2-1, 1-1 in his UFC career. Brutal KO loss in his debut against Yanal Ashmouz. And that was one that I picked. If you recall, Dino, I picked Yanal Ashmouz by knockout and made some decent corn, as the kids like to call it these days. So that was cool. There we go. And then last time out, he did get a victory over Johan Lainus via RNC. He's a striker that's super damn long-bodied, man. Super big.
Potential friend of the channel, too, by the way.
Who is that?
Johan Lainus.
Yeah. He's liked some of our stuff on Instagram, so that's nice of him. But yeah, going back to Sam Patterson's tall ass. He's a good boxer, some decent power, obviously, due to the length. When you're that tall, you can generate some power. Defensively on the feet, he's very hittable, which isn't very common for super tall guys because they usually like to keep distance. We're going to see Giga Chikadze a little later on in this card. He does a great job with that. Sam Patterson, not so much. On the ground, he does a good job in the jiu-jitsu game because of his tall limbs. Long limbs, I guess, right? Not tall limbs. Limbs can't be tall. They can only be long. Then we got Kiefer Crosby. He's a very aggressive striker, good pace, stays busy, some real power. He tends to get wild, and another guy who's very damn hittable. So this is two guys that are very hittable, Dino. Crosby, not so good on the ground. Last time out against Kevin Jousset, he showed that can be exploited. There's so much. There's just like this part in me that wants to replicate that success that I had with the Yanal Ashmouz fight, because Kiefer Crosby, to me, is more Yanal Ashmouz than Johan Lainus. I was really tempted to take Crosby by knockout, but I'm going to stick with the hometown guy here in Sam Patterson. I feel like takedowns are going to be his friend, and he'll eventually get a sub in round 2.
I think that's kind of wild to me, man. Like, how confident can you really be in a Sam Patterson victory? I feel that. I'm not very high on him at all. I will say, though, if you've been a fan of the channel for a while, and if you've seen any Sam Patterson breakdowns by yours truly, I have not given him any credit. I don't think he's very good. Not that I think he's particularly good now. And he's one of those, like, okay, when I was about 5'11" in 5th grade, and I remember when I was on the basketball team, coach used to tell me, play big, right? Like, you don't play to your size. Like, I'm doing this finesse shit. Like, Sam Patterson doesn't fight like that, right? He doesn't fight like a guy who's 6'3". He doesn't really necessarily utilize his 78-inch reach, which is a decent reach. It's not, like, super crazy for 6'3", but shit, it's not a bad reach, right? So, big reach advantage here. My thing is, like, I just don't think Kiefer Crosby's very good, man. Like, I really don't. I just think he's pretty bad. I don't think he's UFC level. Should it be minus 350? Absolutely not. To me, those odds, you can't. I feel like there should be like a skill cap, right? Where it's like Sam Patterson is not ever that good where he should ever be that kind of favorite unless he's fighting somebody literally coming off the street type thing. Like, so, you know, the odds are pretty crazy to me. I don't love it betting wise. You know, the only way I see Sam Patterson losing this fight is if he like stands there and just starts brawling and swinging. And it's like, bro, you're 6'3". You don't need to do that. So if he just doesn't fight like a complete dumbass, I'm going to take Sam Patterson. I could see Sam Patterson getting the finish here. I could see him getting a submission finish, to be honest with you. But I'm honestly going to go Sam Patterson by late 2nd round knockout.
All right, so we're both going Sam Patterson by finish in the 2nd. You're going KO, TKO. I'm going sub. Maybe worth sprinkling Kiefer Crosby for what it's worth via knockout. I
don't see that at all, dude. Like I really don't. Like I don't believe in him whatsoever, dude.
Yeah, I don't love the guy, but he does have some power and he is aggressive. So it's something to think about. And then another thing to think about, Dino, I don't speak foreigner, but Sam Patterson is 190.5 centimeters tall. Okay, so shout out to my foreign.
You know what? That's nice of you to do that for our European fans.
That's what I'm saying for our European fans and all
or
our
really
fans.
For our fans anywhere outside of the U.S. because we're the only dumbasses that still do shit like that.
Right, Myanmar, Burma, we're huge out there.
And South Korea, we're banned.
We're banned in South Korea. God knows why we're banned in South Korea, but not North Korea. So I don't know.
Well, I don't think they're watching the tubes in North Korea, brother. I just don't think they're doing that.
I don't know. The rumor on the street has it that Kim Jong has been betting along with you on the parlay vids. Just saying.
Damn. Do you think he's got corn too?
Brother, he's got all the corn in his country. That's the problem over there. Ain't nobody got corn.
Yo, you know what's crazy? To be like, yo, oh, y'all think my haircut's whack? For sure. You have to wear this haircut.
That's fire.
Everyone's got to rock this haircut. Now what? You think I look goofy? You look fucking goofy.
Dino,
that's kind of fire, though. I'm not going to lie.
Look, I'm not.
If we were the president of some fucking land, would you be like, yo, I'm bald? Why don't you fucking now? Everybody has to shave their head bald.
Yeah, your wife is bald. Your daughter's bald, my guy. Now what?
But not my bitches. Not my. Right. If I'm ruling that shit, like, no. You know what I mean? Long hair don't even care type shit.
Shout out Weezy.
All right. Anyway,
shout out Weezy F baby.
And the F is
for Fala Galera.
Ooh, that shit was hot though, for real.
Come on.
Damn. That was fire. On God. All right, moving on. Next fight of the night, we've got Muhammad Mokaev. He is taking on Manel Cap. And first and foremost, it's insane to me that this fight is the 4th fight of the night. Obviously, it's the featured prelim, but fuck going on over here. You know what I mean? Like there's
a reason for it, Dino. There's a reason for that. That's because Manel Cap is on his last fight of his contract, and he ain't been playing ball with the UFC the way that they want him to.
Honestly, both of them. You add Mokaev too, and he's like a boring fighter, basically.
I'm sorry. It's Mokaev's last fight on his contract, not Manel Cap. Mokaev.
All right, don't ever do that again. Don't try to trick me like that.
My apologies, but word on the street is Mokaev's upset that Urseg was given the title fight and not him. So he hasn't re-signed, and now he's
So
playing.
what you're telling me is you think he went into Dana and there's office and he was like, I wanted to fight him.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Respect. Yeah, listen, man. Muhammad Mokaev, has he been impressive jumping off the page in his last few fights? Absolutely not, right? But what is he doing? He's still winning, right? He's still winning the fights. His last few, right? Just to list them off real quick. Alex Perez, Tim Elliott, Jafel Filio, Malcolm Gordon, Charles Johnson, which has aged really nicely now. Shout out to the Skullet Gang leader himself, Charles Johnson, and friend of the channel, of course. Yeah, so listen, like I'm going to keep the short and sweet. This is pretty straightforward to me. Manel Kape is the better striker. He's got more power in his hands. Muhammad Mokaev isn't like a complete schlub on the feet, right? To me, the biggest difference here, and it's not just to me, if you know anything about the sport, I think you know this, it's pretty straightforward. I'm not telling you anything new here. Muhammad Mokaev is just so much better in the grappling, right? And we've seen Manel Kape like get taken down a couple times, and he does look a little bit lost there. But man, like I want to pick Manel Kape, and I think like when I first saw this, and I was like, I'm gonna pick Manel Kape, right? Because Mokaev hasn't looked that impressive. But at the end of the day, he figures out a way to win, man, and he gets his limbs shattered, right? And he's still not tapping out. He's tough, man. So whatever you want to say, he's tough as hell. He's technically the hometown guy here too. You know, maybe the UFC thing, you know, whatever. Maybe that could influence a decision, but man, I'm not even sure if it gets the decision. And I'm not going to lie to you. Listen, Manel Kape, as much as I like Manel Kape, man, it's not like he looked incredible in the Felipe Dos Santos fight, right? And I'm not taking anything away from Felipe Dos Santos. He's very good. But how often have we seen Manel Kape be very dominant, right? Like yes, he knocked out Zalgas. Yes, he knocked out Ode. I'm sorry. But it's like, those aren't like super high level fighters, no disrespect. So I just, as much as I want to pick Manel Kape, I have to go with Mokaev, and I'm going to say he gets a 3rd round submission in this one.
All right, cool. You know me, Dino, you know I've been on the Manel Kape train for a long time, since before he got into the UFC, and he's making
100%.
He's making it difficult to like him, man, with all the weight missing and the inconsistencies in the cage. So it's been difficult to like Manel Kape and support him, you know.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dan, but just to talk so much shit, to cause that much of a scene with Kai Kara France, I still need to see that fight, by the way.
Yeah.
And then to pull out.
Yeah.
Is crazy.
Yeah, like, I don't know what to make of Manel Kape, but look, you know, at the end of the day, this fight boils down to one thing. It is a very high level, flashy striker in Manel Kape, who is dangerous on the feet, versus a guy in Muhammad Mokaev who is strictly a grappler. I know you said on the feet he's okay. Maybe he's not as bad as people think he is. He didn't look good on the feet last time out, man. And I think the only thing he has going for him on the feet is that like spinning wheel kick that he sometimes throws, the heel kick, whatever it is. He does a good job throwing that every once in a while. It looks fast, it looks dangerous, but it never really lands. But regardless, he's such a boring fighter, man. And I hate to be that guy. And trust me, I'm not a casual at all. But it's like people call guys like Merab Dvalishvili boring. They call guys like Islam Makhachev boring. They say Pantoja is boring. And if you think those guys are boring, then there's no way in hell that you think Muhammad Mokaev is fun, because he's worse than those guys in that respect, right? He's going to shoot 50 takedowns a fight. I know Merab did that, but he's just never going to stop shooting takedowns. That's all he really wants to do. But again, he is on a contract fight here. He wants the title fight. He wants more money. So maybe he does turn it up in this one. And plus, last time out, supposedly he was dealing with staph infection. Regardless of the fact, man, Manel Kape has good enough wrestling to hold his own against most people. I just don't know that it's going to be enough against Muhammad Mokaev here. So I'm sticking with Mokaev as well. Like I said, contract fight. We've seen Kape taken down. Manel could very well knock his head off, and that is a possibility. Maybe I'll slightly be rooting for Manel Kape, but I think Mokaev does get a win here. And I'm going to go with decision, Dino. I could see a submission happening, of course, but I think Mokaev at 23 years old, man, for as boring as he is, the guy's good. And like you said, he finds a way to win fights. And that's what's most important, I guess.
Yeah. I just don't think Manel Kape is that tough, man. And I really don't like. I love him. I love Manel Kape because of his style, obviously, right? You want to see somebody like that. It's entertaining, but I don't know, man. I think his ceiling is a little bit capped, right? And ooh, that's fire. But I hope I'm wrong, right? I hope he defends a shit ton of takedowns and wins. Excuse me. Fuck, I'm sorry.
It's the gin hiccups, baby.
Anyway, moving on. Next fight of the night, we've got Oban Elliott. He is taking on Preston Parsons. Bam Bam, take it away.
All right. So I've probably met like 12 to 15 Prestons in my many years on this blue rock that we call Earth. I've never met an Oban, so that's cool. But anyways, Oban Elliott, he's well-rounded. He's a decent striker. He's fast and flashy. He's got some good grappling as well. He can get up when he's taken down, and that's a big thing for him. Last time out, Dino, he beat Val Woodburn. He was almost knocked out really badly in the first round in that fight, but he showed his toughness. He showed his grit and tenacity. He survived, ended up winning that fight. He's taking on Preston Parsons, the American. He's a good grappler, very slick and dangerous on the ground, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Elliott does not want to get stuck under Parsons. Like, that's really what this fight boils down to, is if Parsons can take this fight to the ground, he should win it, and if he can't, he probably won't. Yeah, he probably doesn't win the fight. On the feet, he looks really out of place, Preston Parsons. He throws massive shots. He gets really wide and, like, out of position, but he's doing all that to get to the takedowns. Regardless, Preston Parsons is going to be my pick. I just think he gets the takedown on Oban Elliott. Last time out, he defeated Semi the Jedi, right? And Matthew Semmelsberger, who's an R boy, or was, I don't know if he any longer is, but
I think I'm done with it. I gotta let him go, but
yeah.
But absolutely was, man. I mean, he's just so goddamn inconsistent. He shows off so great sometimes and then falls off. But that's an impressive win for somebody who's fairly one-dimensional like Preston Parsons.
Well, that's my point, right? Preston Parsons was able to beat a guy like Matthew Semmelsberger, who is way more dangerous than Oban Elliott, right? Has way more finishing potential than Oban Elliott, more power. So I just feel like once he realizes that Oban Elliott doesn't have the power that can really threaten him, he's going to just go for those takedowns, maybe a little recklessly, and eventually get it to the ground and get himself a submission. So I'm going Preston Parsons round 2 submission.
Yeah, great breakdown. I mean, you didn't really leave anything out. Listen, like we haven't really seen Oban Elliott, too much, right? And we haven't seen him really taking on somebody who is a one-dimensional kind of wrestler like Preston Parsons is. Do I wish Preston Parsons was a little bit more active and did some more damage? Of course I do, right? But listen, the Semi the Jedi win is legit to me. I know Oban Elliott is like a pretty popular pick here. I'm surprised that he's still the underdog. I wouldn't be shocked if he's the favorite by the time that the lines close. But I got to agree with you, man. I'm going to go with Preston Parsons. I'm going to go by decision. I just, sometimes he's a little bit too inactive, even if he has the control time and is a little bit too happy being there. He almost, I feel like, needs to be pushed, and like provoked to to more output, if that makes sense. So I just don't know if Oban Elliott is going to do that. Oban Elliott, his best strategy is probably to be the more aggressive fighter, right? So we'll see what happens, but I got to agree with you, Preston Parsons. This is a tough one for me, man. I've gone back and forth on it, but I'm going to go Preston Parsons by decision here.
Fair. I could see him writing out a decision here, especially if he gets takedowns and he's able to get some control on the ground. Yeah, I'm just not too impressed with Oban Elliott. I thought I kind of thought highly of him coming into the UFC. I just don't know that I do anymore. Yeah,
I wasn't sure on him coming in, and I'm still not sure, but I'm leaning more to like he's not really anything special, All right, moving on. Next fight of the night, we've got Modestas Bukauskas. He is taking on Marcin Prachnio. It's
certified my boy. Certified my boy. Certified my boy Modestas Bukauskas, by the way.
I like him a lot too, man. By the way, he's like English as fuck. Like he's not like from Lithuania, like he makes it sound like he is like blood, but like right. He's for all intents and purposes he's English as shit. So, yeah, this is our only light heavyweight fight I think on the card. Modestas Bukauskas, man, right? He had a little bit of hype behind him, and then he fought Khalil Roundtree, and obviously Khalil Roundtree, one of the, in my opinion, a technique. First of all, I just want to say we should make a video about this. Shout out the 12-6 elbow being legalized. I don't see why that was banned or not or disallowed to begin with. And also the rules about a downed opponent are changing. So I love that. But speaking of that, something that should, in my opinion, should be outlawed is that oblique kick, as they call it, that side kick to the knee. I hate that. I hate that technique. I feel like, I know John Jones uses it. I just don't think it's something. It makes no sense. It
killed Modestas Bukauskas' run in the UFC. It killed his first stint in the UFC.
Yeah, dude. And listen, he lost to Aleksejczyk. Before that, he lost to Jimmy Crute. Fine. But before that, Andreas Michailidis was not thought of as like a complete scrub like he is now. He had a win in the UFC at least, right? And he looked like somebody who was at least going to be a fun fighter. But anyway, after that, Bukauskas, to his credit, came back after a long layoff, 4 wins in a row, not the highest level of competition. Marcin Prachnio, man, his opponent, one of the more underrated fighters, in my opinion, in the entire promotion. Yes, he got knocked out or got choked out by Vitor Petrino. Lost to Felipe Lins, which is not a good look. But listen, I was pretty impressed with him in the Devin Clark fight. I was pretty impressed by his victory over Khalil Rountree, who obviously we know injured and beat Bukauskas that I just talked about. For me, man, Bukauskas, I feel like that injury has sapped him, right? I feel like you can see it in his movement. He's a kickboxer, right? He's not moving like a true kickboxer. He doesn't really move forward a ton. He doesn't land a lot of volume. He's not throwing with a ton of ferocity, right? I got to go with Prachnio, man. I got to go with Prachnio. He does nothing special, right? He's going to be the better grappler for sure. Bukauskas on a kind of bum leg too. I don't think he's going to be able to stay standing the whole time. Prachnio on the feet, not a lot of power, right? He's 36 years old at this point. They're both the same height. Prachnio's 4-inch disadvantage in reach, but I don't know, man. Something within me is just telling me, he's got more dog in him, if that makes sense to you. So I just got to go with Prachnio here at plus money too. I think that's kind of forcing my hand a little bit, but I'm going to take Marcin Prachnio. I'm going to say by decision, but I feel like it's going to be fairly one-sided.
Fair. And look, I'm going the other way, Dino. I am taking Modestas Bukauskas just to throw that out there right off the rip, but it does feel like a trap fight. And I do have that written down here in my notes that it feels like a trap. The only thing that's kind of swaying me towards the Modestas Bukauskas side, but besides, I guess, maybe some bias, is the fact that Marcin Prachnio, man, while he's a karate guy, right? We hear all about the karate fighting that he's done, and he has 400 combat karate fights or 500, whatever it is. He doesn't fight that way. He doesn't fight like a Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He doesn't fight like a Michael Venom Page. He's down to brawl. That's just what he does. And in his brawling, he seems pretty susceptible to being knocked the fuck out, man. His chin is kind of sus for what it's worth. We haven't seen him knocked out recently, but there was a span early on in his UFC career. I think he started his UFC career with 3 straight knockout losses, yet somehow remained in the company and, put together a nice little streak, and he's kind of evened out. But it's dude, he gets really brawly, and when he gets touched, he goes down. Yes, I do feel you on Modestas Bukauskas being a little more soy, for the lack of a better term. But shit, dude, I think he's the better fighter. He's more sharp. He's more technical. But yeah, I could totally see this just being a one-sided ass whooping or even a quick knockout by Marcin Prachnio. But I will stick with Modestas Bukauskas here. I'm going to go knockout really late in this fight, and maybe that's just, being an optimist. But yeah, Modestas Bukauskas 3rd round TKO is what I'm going with.
Respect, brother. I mean, listen, I like Bukauskas a lot more as a fighter, I just it's tough for me to call it for him. So anyway, moving on. Next fight of the card, we've got Caolan Loughran. He is taking on Jake Hadley, who just lost to our boy Charles Johnson. Just got to throw that shout out one more time. What do you think about this fight?
Give me a second, Dino. I do not have that fight typed out here. So 1 second. Just entertain the fans while I'm doing this.
I can go first if you want.
I mean, I have the notes. I just want to type it for the screen. But yeah, sure. You go first. Here. Give me a second. Boom. It's all you, brother.
Yeah. Caolan Loughran versus Jake Hadley. Listen, Loughran is a decent guy. He's a decent fighter. We haven't seen anything super impressive from him. He's well-rounded. His best attributes are probably in the wrestling, right? Hadley, in my opinion, this is a pretty straightforward fight to me. To me, Hadley, the only place where he's truly better than Caolan Loughran is in like the pure jiu-jitsu, right? In the actual submission aspect of the grappling realm. Other than that, man, you know, Jake Hadley, I actually thought he was going to be really good when he came to the UFC. I knew that he was a very good jiu-jitsu guy, but he kind of reminds me of Jimmy the Brick Flick, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. He's a lot more Jimmy the Brick Flick than I thought he was going to be. And Caolan Loughran, to me, is the way better, well-rounded fighter. He's going to be better in the striking. He's going to be better in the actual wrestling, I imagine. To me, man, I think the odds are pretty much right where they should be. I'm going to take Caolan Loughran. I'm going to take him by decision. I could see a finish. The only way I see Jake Hadley winning this if he gets something on the ground. He likes being on his back too much, basically, is what I'm trying to say. The only way that I could see Jake Hadley winning this fight is if he gets some crazy submission on the ground. And I think Caolan Loughran is just good enough where he's not going to let that happen. So I'm taking him by decision.
All right, fair. And what's weird about this, Dino, is we see this fight very, very differently, but ultimately we end up at the same spot. I am going Caolan Loughran by decision as well, but it's not for the reasons that you stated, man. Caolan Loughran, he's very stocky. He's wide-stanced. He's a powerful striker. He throws everything with fight-ending intentions. His wrestling's okay. He's busy as hell. He's pretty active. If his opponents overcommit, he has no issue taking the fight to the ground. The problem with him is on the ground, he doesn't have too much. He doesn't have very good jiu-jitsu. He doesn't have very good ground control. Jake Hadley on the other side, he has taken this fight on very short notice, about a week or so. He's well-rounded to me, man. He's a good boxer, good takedowns, good jiu-jitsu, former Cage Warriors champion. As you would remember, we saw him on Dancing with the Stars, a.k.a. Dana White's Contender Series, where he missed weight. Last time out, he did get smoked by our boy Charles Energy Johnson. This is the second Energy notice or shout-out on this fight card breakdown, so shout-out Energy. But, yeah, he's been beating everybody, so, you know, not a big deal there. That's age, like, all right. I like the fact that he is stepping in and he's willing to step in on short notice, Dino, up a weight class. So that's a big thing, right? Caolan Loughran, he's so goddamn powerful looking, just being that short and thick. I think it's a really tough ask for Jake Hadley in this one. I'd like to see him get a big win at home, but like I said, Loughran's too strong. I think he makes this boring and just holds him up against the cage for 7 to 8 minutes of this 15-minute fight. To me, Jake Hadley is the better fighter, and I know this is where we're disagreeing according to your breakdown. I think Jake Hadley's much more sharp. I think he's much more technical. I think he is the better fighter, but I got to stick with the bigger, stronger guy who was in camp for this one. I don't love the odds, to be honest with you, but I'll stick with Caolan Loughran via decision. Weird that we took two different roads, but ended up at the same spot, brother.
Two roads diverged in I forgot what the Robert Frost poem was, and I took the one less traveled by, brother. So anyway, moving on to the next fight. And do you want me to just take it again, and then we'll go back to the regularly scheduled programming after that?
Just whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I'll just do that.
Boom.
It's Molly McCann, Meatball Molly versus Bruna Brasil. My girl, as you say, one that I don't want any parts of. Yeah, listen, man, I kind of started talking about Bruna Brasil earlier. Bruna Brasil, she's a striking, in my opinion. Well, she's not a specialist, but her striking is like where she's supposed to be good. Apprehensive, not who I thought she was, not as aggressive as I thought she was. And then you realize Marnik Mann, who she beat on Dancing with the Stars, you know, not good at all. Probably maybe the worst women.
You sounded like Trump there for a second. Not good
at all. It's not. You're gay. China. Sorry. But anyway, Bruna Brasil, man, you know, the one place where she may have an advantage is in the striking, and she's the longer fighter, 3.5-inch reach advantage, 2 inches of height. She's a little bit younger, 4 years younger, or like 3.5 years younger. But listen, I've been a little bit impressed by Molly. I also really like Molly. I got to say that. I know you met her. I did not. I was impressed by her win over Diana Belbita. Is Diana Belbita really good? No, she's not. But to get an armbar finish in like the last second of the first round, very cool. I appreciate that. She's actually somebody who works on her craft. Also, Molly was getting a little bit pudgy at a certain time. She looks really lean right now. She looks like she's really taking her shit seriously. Mental aspect is a question mark for Molly, right? Because She's going through like she was supposed to get married. That got called off. So she's got a lot of things going on right now. But she's on her home turf. She's got Paddy by her side. Watch that Nina and Molly McCann interview, by the way. Very good on Nina's channel. You know, since her loss versus Julia Stoliarenko, won by her armbar, right? She lost by armbar, and then after that, she won a grappling tournament by armbar, and then or a match versus by armbar, and then beat Diana Belbita by armbar. So listen, I appreciate that. Like, there's something to be said about that. Like, oh, you're gonna get me with this? I need to figure this shit out. So she started putting it to use offensively. I respect that. I like it. Molly McCann, more experienced. Bruna Brasil has not impressed me whatsoever. I'm not convinced that she's UFC level. Molly McCann is. There was a time where I was like, is she UFC level? I was wrong on that. She absolutely is. She's a fan favorite. She's on home turf. She's got better opponents that she's got wins over. She's going to be the better grappler, the better wrestler. And I could see her getting a submission win here, man, but I'm going to take her by decision. I'm going Meatball Molly by decision. I'm going to say unanimous. I feel like she gets a fairly convincing win here. I think this is not necessarily a super gimme, but a fairly one-sided fight.
Fair. And look, you know, I want to talk a little bit about Molly McCann. You mentioned I met her. She was awesome, dude. She was, I figured she would just be like a bit of an asshole. She was one of the nicest people I've ever met. Regardless, she's a very aggressive, brawly striker. And the most important thing about Meatball Molly is she is goddamn entertaining, man. And that's not me shitting on women's MMA, but she is a very, very entertaining.
How about this, Dino? Would you? I'm sorry to keep interrupting you.
Yeah,
I've been drinking watermelon.
shout out Beyonce.
Agree. I'm sure she watches. Agree or disagree? Does she cut the best promo as a woman, or is she the best mic worker as a woman in the UFC today?
Yeah, off the top of my head, I would say she is, because the rest of them don't really, you know, cut promos like that, right? Juliana Pena tries, Kayla Harrison tries. They both
cringe,
kind of like really cringe.
Kayla Harrison is a old white woman, so whatever. Right. Like Juliana, super cringe and delusional. Yeah, Molly McCann has got to be her.
Well, look, you know, she probably does cut the best promo for women, and on top of that, she's like, look, skill-wise, she's not upper echelon, right? She's not the cream of the crop in women's MMA, but
cream of the crop.
Cream of the crop. But what she is, Dino, is she's a top 10 fighter in the sense that she's a top 10 fighter that I want to watch in women's MMA. Yeah. Right? She's a top 10 most entertaining.
I think the mic work has a lot to do with that.
Maybe it does, dude. And it's the fact that she's willing to just go out there and die on her shield and get a little wild. Like, look, she's decently well-rounded. Is she the most skilled? No. Does she have the most power? No. Is she the best on the ground? No. But she's pretty good power, pretty technical, decent cardio, tough as hell. Bruna Brasil, as you mentioned, she is a striker. That's what she's supposed to be. She has some good, like some serious power, and she does get really creative when she's striking. The problem is when she is striking, half the time she's not doing shit. She's just very, very calm, not willing to throw, not willing to engage. And then at other times, and I think that was the reason she was a, you know, sort of your girl or on the road to being a your girl at the beginning, is because we've seen some fights where she's really going at it, man. She's going after it, but then sometimes she doesn't. So I don't know. Look, something does tell me that Molly gets this fight done. I feel like if Bruna Brasil makes the mistake of being hesitant, Molly's not going to accept that. She's not going to accept it in England at all. She's going to go for it. So I am going Meatball Molly by decision, even though I think skill for skill, Bruna Brasil is probably the better fighter and definitely the better striker. I'm going Molly at home versus someone that may be gun shy in a fight that probably goes to the decision, Dino, with hometown judges and all that. It's got to be Molly. It's got to be Molly by decision.
Yeah, agree. Moving on, next fight of the night. It's a guy that I have a lot of feelings about. It's Nathaniel Wood, and he's taking on Daniel Pineda. Dino Bam, what do you think about this fight?
Boom, Nathaniel Wood, striker, good power, good clinch game, Dino, solid ground game, good sub skills. The guy is overall good. He's well-rounded as hell. Every time we talk about him, we wish that he would fight more often. We wish that he would leave that half of the world and sometimes come to this half of the world and fight, right? He only fights in Europe. He fights in England. He fights in Paris. He will fight in Asia on an Abu Dhabi card here and there. But I guess the last time he went there, he got kind of screwed with the Muhammad Naimov fight with the 10 personal fouls that didn't get called, glove grabs, fence grabs, nut shots, all that.
That was insane. That was one of the most egregious in the history of the company.
I'm saying, dude, and if it wasn't for that, Nathaniel the prospect Wood at 30 years old could be on a 4-fight win streak right now, man. He's taking on Daniel Pineda. Daniel Pineda, a do or die kind of fighter, a kill or be killed kind of guy, high level wrestler, good power, like stupidly fucking dangerous, but zero cardio. You got to last 2 to like 4 to maybe 5 minutes tops with Daniel Pineda. And if you could do that, he's gassing out and you're beating him. So I think, look, Nathaniel Wood wins this fight, man. He's too tough to get knocked out or subbed or finished in the first 3 minutes of this fight. I have to stick with him. I think he ends up getting the finish after that first round. And so I'll say TKO round 2.
Yeah. You mentioned it, bro. Nathaniel Wood, to me, one of the more talented fighters in the division.
Dino, hold on. I'm gonna mute myself because I gotta pour up another London Dry beverage.
You go after it, brother. Just don't forget to unmute. But yeah, listen, Nathaniel Wood, exactly what you said is what I wanted to say. Is like, it fucking pisses me off, man. It really pisses me off because I believe in his talent. I believe in his skill set. It really bothers me that he fights exclusively in the UK or in somewhere in Europe or whatever's convenient. Like, dude, to me, that tells you you're not that serious about your craft. Like, you don't care enough to put yourself in situations where you're outside of your comfort zone. That kills me, bro, because I genuinely do believe that he's one of the more talented fighters in the division, right? To me, man, this fight is very straightforward. There's a reason the odds are minus 500. Daniel Pineda, like you said, not good cardio. He's 28-15, not a good record. He's a guy who, yes, sure, had dangerous power. He's on the twilight of his career, man. He was never that good to begin with. This is basically the Andre Fili fight, which Nathaniel Wood won. But like the worst version of Andre Fili that you've ever seen. So, to me, I have to go with Nathaniel Wood. I don't see him really getting the finish, so I'm going to go by decision. But, he's going to win this fight. Let's be honest. But come on, man. Come on, dude. Like, fucking get out of your goddamn comfort zone, man. Like, I've said this every time we break his fights down. He's so good. He's so talented. Step out of your comfort zone, man. Like, you're like, damn, you need the UFC. So you fight once a year. You fight once, maybe twice a year. Like, that's trash, dude. You're 30. You're almost 31. Like, come on, man.
It's exactly that, Dino, and that's what I wanted to point out. But you said it. It's like, look, the nickname, the prospect, right? You're 30, my guy. Like, you're 30 now.
Well, he's still a prospect because he's 31 and he's a prospect still because he doesn't fucking ever fight, man.
That's what I'm saying. You got to get this shit going. This ain't gonna last forever. Especially
look at the other end of the spectrum, Alex Pereira. He's 36. He realizes that he's past his prime. He's in his prime, whatever you want to say. He hasn't taken MMA damage, and look what he's doing. And that's an extreme, right? But like, you can fall somewhere in the comfortable middle there, right?
Right. Like, take a fight in Europe yearly. That's fine. Be comfortable. Take one in Vegas.
He should be fighting 3 times a year, dude.
I'm just saying, if you don't want to fight 3 times, fucking fly out once to Vegas, dude. Fight in, July, which we're usually in England in July. Fight in December in Vegas. Fight in January in America somewhere. Like, that's it. That's all you got to do. And that's twice a year. And, like, you're pretty damn comfortable. I feel like you should be good enough to do that. Anyways, it just sucks because I feel like he's going to end up being one of those guys that, like, threw the prime years of his career away, especially in a lower weight class. You mentioned Alex Poatan-Pereira. He's doing it in a division, Dino, where you can be 35, 36, 37 years old and still be effective, right? We saw that with Glover.
And that's a great point, too.
Yeah, you got, if you're Nathaniel Wood, man, you got 3 to 4 years tops of being like, you really got a shot at doing something, and then it's over.
Yep. Anyway, moving on to the next fight of the night. We've got Arnold Allen. He's taking on Giga Chikadze. Is this me?
Yeah, it is you, Dino. But main card opener, by the way. So we're starting the main card. I also want to ask you this. What do these fellas drink? It's been a while. What do they drink, DS? Let us know.
Man, bro, I feel like Arnold Allen definitely drinks a nice cocktail.
You think so?
Yeah, no question. Maybe a Negroni.
He strikes me as a beer guy. Am I wrong in that?
I think you're totally wrong in that. I think nah, bro. Arnold Allen, he's drinking Negronis, dude.
And Giga?
Giga don't drink like that, bro.
But man, I mean, he's European.
Are Georgians European?
So yeah, right. Are Russians European? You know, if Russians are European, Georgians are European.
That's
You
a
don't
tough
think Giga?
question.
You don't think Giga dabbles?
If Giga drinks, he might have like a vodka.
No, just like a screwdriver, or just like a straight vodka.
Vodka soda type shit.
Shout out Dennis. Is it Dennis Budka? Is that the guy in the UFC? Shout out that guy. But anyway,
Yeah,
boom.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man. This is a good fight. You know, it could be boring too, but to me, the breakdown of this is pretty straightforward, right? You've got Giga Chikadze, who is pretty much a kickboxer. We know about the Giga kick. He's had, you know, kind of like mixed results lately, right? Like he beat Alex Caceres, which I would expect him to beat Alex Caceres. You know, he got absolutely fucking pummeled by Calvin Kattar, and Calvin Kattar, you know, what Arnold Allen fought Calvin Kattar, and Arnold Allen had a much better performance versus Calvin Kattar. He beat him, right? And, you know, I know there was a knee injury and all that, but, you know, he had a much better performance. He was on the way to a much better performance. To me, this is the breakdown of the fight is this, right? It's Arnold Allen, who is a good kickboxer, a good striker, and a very good grappler, versus Giga Chikadze, who is way more one-dimensional, right? And he probably has more, he for sure has more power on the feet, let's be honest. But we've seen Giga taken down, and he doesn't look super comfortable down there. Yes, he's very strong, and his base is very sturdy because his legs are thick as fuck, and he's got a strong core. But to me, man, the difference here is the grappling, is the wrestling. I just see it. There's a big glaring skill difference, right? The striking, Arnold Allen isn't too far off, in my opinion, from Giga. And Arnold Allen has fought way, at least recently, way better competition. Of course, he lost to Max Holloway, but he didn't look awful versus Max Holloway. He had some moments in that fight. It was somewhat close, I guess you could say. Yes, he lost to Movsar Evloev, but, man, he's fighting much better competition. He's putting up better performances, and the grappling advantage is pretty wide to me, and it's the widest in terms of fight to fight or skill to skill. You know, comparing the fighters, it's the widest difference for me. I just see him having more success in the grappling, getting Giga down at some points. And Giga, when he starts getting hit, like, he doesn't do super well with that, especially if we haven't seen him get dominated on the ground. And I don't necessarily think he'll be completely dominated. I just don't see him being able to stuff every takedown. I do think the fight ends up on the ground at some point, and I got to go with Arnold Allen by decision here.
All right, Dino, once again on this card, we're doing this thing. We're doing this thing. Two different roads. We're ending up at the same goddamn place. I am also taking Arnold Allen. I am taking him by decision. Look, he's on a 2-fight losing streak right now, and Giga's not, right? But Arnold Allen, as you mentioned, a very good striker. I like his stance, Dino. I like the fact that he has like this upright stance. He does a good job at getting in and causing damage and stepping the fuck out when he needs to. Of those striking exchanges, good power for the division, fast hands, good footwork, tough to take down. Not that I necessarily think that you know, factors into this fight, but you know, there's that. I think in order for Arnold Allen to win this fight, he's going to have to be defensively sound, get into like the danger zone, do some damage, and get the fuck out. Now, Giga Chikadze, we know he's super long-bodied. He's tall for the division, nasty striker. You mentioned the Giga kick. Great jabs as well by Giga Chikadze. Does very, very good he does a very good job at maintaining distance. I know I alluded to that earlier in this card. I don't remember who we were talking about. I think it was the Sam Patterson. Giga, the opposite of Sam Patterson. He does a great job at maintaining range. He's kind of low volume, but it's by design, right? It's by design. He likes to keep his opponents at range, pick at them, not really let them pick at him, and go even further than the range that he can hit his opponent at, right? But look, he hasn't looked the same since the Calvin Kattar fight. I think at this point in time, Dino, like you said, Allen has, even in his losses, has looked better than Giga in his wins. The Movsar Evloev fight was a fight that Allen could have won if it wasn't for some weird knees and, grounded opponents and all that. And I guess that rule changed now, but here's how I see this fight playing out. I think Arnold Allen does a great job defensively. He steps in and out and he beats Giga up on the feet, causes major damage, but doesn't get a finish. I think a 30-27 Arnold Allen ass whooping, very similar to the Calvin Kattar fight, takes place. But here's where we really disagree. I think Giga Chikadze is going to be the one looking for takedowns, man. I think he's been working with Beneil Dariush. Whoa. Yeah, I know that they think that Allen is a threat on the ground, and I've seen him working some offensive takedowns, man. So I wouldn't be surprised if Giga's the one trying to force the action on the ground, especially if he's getting touched up on the feet.
Touched. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Well, you're right. It is a fun fucking fight.
Yeah.
Somebody gets to be back in the, title-ish conversation, and somebody gets the fuck off.
Absolutely. Yeah. I hope you don't mind if I spark up a cig.
Hey, do you, brother? We're drinking. We've been drinking watermelon. Shout out Beyonce. It's a long episode. We're like damn near an hour in and still got 4 fights. So I hope you guys are enjoying. And if you are, don't forget, there's a little subscribe button at the bottom. Fucking click it. There's a bell. Ding it, or whatever you do to a bell. Also, while you're here, maybe take a pause. Go to your IG app on your iPhone or Android device and follow us on Instagram at V107MMA.
The smoke is crazy right now.
It's nice. It makes you look like really fucking distinguished and interesting. Come on now.
All right. Moving on. Next fight of the night. We've got Christian L. Duncan. Mr. Christian L. Duncan, as you call him.
Come on.
He's taking on Gregory Rodrigues. What do you think about this fight, Dino Bam Bam?
Christian L. Duncan, a.k.a. Christian Leroy Duncan, a.k.a. CLD. He's 10-1, Dino. He is a finisher. He's a really good striker. He's creative as hell on the feet. He's powerful. He loves to be the hammer. But as soon as somebody tries to make him the nail, what I love about Christian Leroy Duncan is he's willing to shoot a takedown, man. He's not one of those strikers that only has that. He's decent with the wrestling. Last time out, he beat Claudio Ribeiro, who, little side note here, Claudio Ribeiro, what a disappointment. When I saw that guy on Dancing with the Stars, a.k.a. Dana White's Contender Series, I was like, holy shit, this guy's going to be fun. He's going to make some noise in the UFC. He's gone. He's already gone. And he's facing RoboCop, a.k.a. Brazil Obama, a.k.a. Mr. Fighty Pass himself, Gregory Rodrigues. He's well-rounded. Real
fellow Brazilians. Fala galera.
There it is. I love that. He's well-rounded. You know, what is that?
I said, rest in peace, Joe Biden.
Hey, you said it, brother. I didn't. But Brazil Obama, RoboCop Gregory Rodrigues, he's well-rounded. You know, he's got some serious-ass power, and he is fucking dangerous on the ground. A black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The problem is he never wants to go to the ground anymore, right? He's a guy that's abandoned the ground game. He wants to he like damn near uses his grappling to get up when people are taking him down just to get back into a brawl. I know I put the picture on MMA Casuals, but there's the picture with him with like a huge gash here. That shows you how tough Gregory Rodrigues is. How tough. Hey, I've been drinking watermelon, you know? But anyways, look, he's dangerous wherever this fight takes place, Dino. Technically, CLD is the better striker. Danger-wise, I think RoboCop is more dangerous. This is a super tough fight to pick. I've been flip-flopping on it, sort of like Joe Biden. I'm going to go with RoboCop KO round 1. It's a hunch pick. I think this fight it's impossible for me to, like, be certain who's going to win it.
Excuse the fuck out of the fucking motorcycle just gunning it down my shit. Like,
yeah, sorry about that. And you live on a side street. But anyways, I'm going RoboCop round 1 KO. I think this fight's going to be super damn entertaining for as long as it lasts.
Yeah, that's a crazy prediction, but I don't hate it, honestly. Yeah, Christian Leroy Duncan, going to be the way more refined striker. That's what he does, right? But we really have not seen him take on a wrestler, grappler whatsoever, somebody who's high skill. There's not a ton of them at 185. There's not a ton of them in the UFC, right? So, you know, internationally, there's just simply not a lot of them. To me, man, as much as I want, when I first saw this fight, I was like, Christian Leroy Duncan. I think he's going to find the chin of Gregory Rodrigues. Gregory Rodrigues, we've seen him stumbling, rumbling, mumbling. When he gets hit, he doesn't like to get hit either, right? So neither of these guys really like to get hit which why would you, right? But to me, same thing, man. Gregory Rodrigues, I just think the difference is so vast on the ground, unless like there's something that we just have not seen from Christian Leroy Duncan. Gregory Rodrigues is a premier grappler, a premier jiu-jitsu guy in the division. He's also got a lot of power. His striking isn't the most technical. Christian Leroy Duncan, obviously the better technical striker. I could see Gregory Rodrigues knocking him out. I could see a submission. I could see Christian Leroy Duncan getting the knockout. I just think he hasn't fought anybody like Gregory Rodrigues. I do think that we see a finish in this fight, but I'm going Gregory Rodrigues by second round submission.
So you're picking Gregory as well. I like that. This fight, a coin flip, and I'm surprised at that. I felt like, upon doing my research on this, that Christian Leroy Duncan would be a somewhat sizable favorite, like a minus 160, something like that. But we see a coin flip here, and I'm all for it, man. Whatever. RoboCop by KO. I'm more of a fan of RoboCop than CLD anyways, so I kind of hope that happens.
Okay. Fair.
And by the way, Dino, right here after this fight, this is where your casual fan is really going to start enjoying this card. It's a 3-fight card for the casuals in attendance.
Yes. And of course, the first fight that you're talking about is Bobby Green or King Green, whatever the fuck you want to call him, versus Paddy Pimblett. King versus Paddy is an insane duo of names. Is this me or you first?
This is you, Broham.
Yeah. This one is so tough for me, man. It's so tough because, to me, Bobby Green, first of all, he looked very impressive in his last fight. Pretty much beat the fuck out of Jim Miller. To me, the thing is, Bobby Green or King Green is at his best when he is going second, right? When he is counterpunching, when he is, like, at least recently, right? Before he used to be, he's still very unorthodox, but he used to do a little bit more crazy shit. He's a little bit safer now. So to me, like, Paddy Pimblett cannot stand with Bobby Green. Like that's something that you just cannot do. But the thing then is, like, sure, they're the same height. They're pretty much going to be the same reach too. There's 2 inches of reach for Paddy Pimblett, but Paddy Pimblett's not the striker here, right? It's just like Paddy Pimblett is the physically much bigger person, right? Weight cut aside, Bobby Green walks around a lot closer to the actual weight that they're fighting at. Bobby Green early in his career was more of a grappler than he is now, right? But Paddy Pimblett, man, like, it's tough. It's tough. This is such a hard one for me. Like, I really don't know where to go with it. I still am undecided, to be honest with you, because I see everybody picking Paddy Pimblett. It's plus money. Like, it's an easy fight for him. I just don't think it's going to be that easy, right? So Bobby Green does pretty good against grapplers, man, against wrestlers. Like, I feel like I'm leaning towards Bobby Green here. I know Paddy Pimblett, it's slightly plus money. It's very popular pick, but I might flip-flop on this one, but I think I'm going to go with Bobby Green, man. I just think he's going to land the better shots. I don't see a finish in this one. Paddy Pimblett, he's got a good chin. Say what you will about him, but he definitely has a good chin. I'm going to go with Bobby Green, though. Like, I know it's not the popular pick, and low-key, I kind of want to see Paddy win. And I hope Paddy, what he needs is a dominant victory for all the shit that he's talked, the time that he's taken off, the Jared Gordon fight. But for now, I'm leaning Bobby Green decision.
Fair enough, Dino. Look, let's start with Bobby Green, okay? He's 37 years – I'm sorry, King Green. He's 37 years old. Yeah, he's a weird striker, dude. Hands low all the time. Good defensive footwork. As you mentioned, he's a good counter striker. He's really good when he goes second. And also, like you said, good grappling, great volume. Bobby Green has been in the UFC damn near forever. And we always say it on this channel. If you've been in the UFC for that damn long, you're good at everything. So Bobby Green, a veteran, a nice test here for Paddy Pimblett, trying to crack into the rankings, right? Then we got Paddy the Baddie. Okay striking, man. Decent volume, some decent power, some flashy stuff on the feet here and there with some good power. On the ground, Dino, he's very, very sound, okay? He's big for the weight class, as you mentioned, so that really helps. He's got some good jiu-jitsu, and he remains really heavy on top. Now, the biggest issue for Paddy the Baddie in this one, and in general, eventually his downfall is going to be the fact that when Paddy gets involved, when he gets involved in the pocket with somebody, he starts swinging really wide, right? And he leaves that chin up, man. He leaves it very high with his both
from
his
the start. Since his Cage Warrior days, that's been his shit.
That's always been his thing, right? And eventually, there's some guys at 155 that have nuclear fucking power. I'm thinking Michael Chandler, right? I'm thinking if he gets pushed along pretty quickly, let's say he beats Bobby Green here, he gets pushed to a guy like Justin Gaethje, like that's not fucking fun for you. You're not winning doing that shit against those guys. So it's a big issue. It's a tough, scary game he wants to play. Look, Dino, I am also taking Bobby Green, King Green in this one, but I'll probably be wrong, right? I'm going Green by KO, but he does need the finish to win this one. There's no way in hell he wins a decision. I know a lot of shit was given to Paddy about the Jared Gordon decision, but they already fucking did that. The UFC bit the bullet. They're fine with doing it again if they have to, especially against a guy like Bobby Green. So Bobby needs to avoid the takedowns and find that chin to win it. In conclusion, I'm picking Bobby Green, but my money's on Paddy the Baddy. That's where my bet's going on this one.
Yeah.
If I'm betting, I'm throwing on Paddy Pimblett. Yeah, just like you, man. It's kind of 50-50 to me.
I'm not betting this fight, dude. I'm not betting this fight.
Oh, I'm betting Paddy Pimblett, but that's just because.
You put on a parlay?
No, hell no. This is a solo bet at plus 105 on a guy that the company is, babying and all that bullshit. But Bobby Green is the better fighter. All things considered, he's the better fighter. But I could totally see Paddy winning it. So Bobby Green KO. Maybe it's wishful thinking, but that's what I'm going with.
KO is crazy, but for sure. Moving on. Co-main event of the evening and maybe the people's main event. Yeah. Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blaydes. What do you think about this one, brother?
All right, man. Tom Aspinall, Dino, fast, athletic as hell, powerful, very goddamn well-rounded, very good jiu-jitsu, and a finisher of the highest degree. Not too much more to say, man. Like, Tom Aspinall is very, very, very good. He's very, very well-rounded. Like, there's not a flaw in the guy's game. He's also fighting at home here, which is a huge perk for him. Then you have Curtis Blaydes, a big, powerful wrestler, notoriously struggles against power punchers, right? That's been Curtis Blaydes' downfall. You think of Francis Ngannou, you think of Derek Lewis, you think of Pavlovich. Those are the guys that beat him. I really hate the fact that Curtis Blaydes has turned away from his wrestling, Dino, because all things considered, he's probably the best wrestler in UFC heavyweight history. And I know that sounds fucking nuts to a lot of people because you've had
Cain Velasquez.
Yeah, you've had guys like Cain Velasquez. You've had guys like Brock Lesnar, guys that have been All-Americans and things like that. But Curtis Blaydes, what is that?
I don't agree with that.
Regardless, he's up there, right?
He's up there.
For a person that doesn't agree, you would have to at least admit that he's up there in the top 3 or 5 wrestlers ever in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, I agree.
The problem with Curtis Blaydes is he's not doing it anymore, man. He started to really fall in love with his hands. And I really hate that for him. And it's not that his hands are bad. He does have some serious power. We saw that against Jailton Almeida. Maybe a couple years ago, we saw that against, help me with his name, Chris Daukaus, or is it Chris Daukaus?
Chris Daukaus, yeah.
Yeah, he knocked out Chris Daukaus, who's not the best fighter, but showed his power in that one. Like, I don't understand why avoid what you're good at, man. I would love nothing more, Dino, than a Curtis Blaydes victory in this one. You know he is a 150% certified my boy, but I just don't think he's going to go to the wrestling, man. I think he's going to try to stand on the feet with Tom Aspinall. And on the feet, yes, he has the power, but I don't think he has the skill of Tom Aspinall. I don't think he's nearly as sharp as he is on the feet. I hope Blaydes goes with the wrestling. I just don't see it that way. Tom Aspinall KO round 1.
Whoo, round 1 is crazy. Whoa, I did not expect that. I know that's your boy. Yeah, listen, I know I disagree with you that he's number 1, and maybe that was a little bit of, exaggeration, whatever. I don't know. I do agree with you. He's top 5. And we really, we've heard so much about Tom Aspinall and how great of a grappler he is and how great of a wrestler he is, but we really haven't seen it, right? So absolutely, Curtis Blaydes should do that. But the other issue that I have with Curtis Blaydes is he's not the smartest fighter, and I'm saying that lightly. He makes very fucking stupid decisions, and that's been his downfall many a time. And Curtis Blaydes, we've talked about fighters like this before on this very channel, on this very show, but when you get a knockout, right, it's like, oh, I'm a knockout artist. It's like, you're not, though. You're not. And you absolutely should not strike with somebody like Tom Aspinall. So, to me, Tom Aspinall's grappling is kind of a question mark, right? And Curtis Blaydes should do that. But same as you, dude, I just don't trust him to do it. I actually think it's going to go to decision, believe it or not. It's a 3-rounder, right?
It's a 5-round fight. It's a title fight.
Oh, what am I saying?
You're out of your mind, brother? What does your shirt say? Do you know? What is that? What about boners? I've been trying to read that the whole night.
It says little scrawny stinky boners.
That's good. That's nice. It's appropriate.
It is. Who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
It's got to be Donatello, just because he's similar named to Dino.
I always liked Raphael.
Yeah, he's definitely cooler, but yeah.
He was always like the sassy one. Anyway, yeah, Tom Aspinall, I'm going with him. I'm gonna say 2nd round KO.
So you flip from decision to 2nd round KO. Is that because the fight plays out differently in a 5-rounder? What are you talking about?
Absolutely. Yeah, it definitely plays out differently. And in my mind, I knew it was a 5-rounder. I don't know why. Like at this point, I'll be honest, I'm pretty drunk.
Yeah, you've been drinking watermelon.
Well, I cracked the bottle open, and that's where I'm at. And then my chaser has been a White Claw.
That's good.
Or my mixer, rather. Anyway, so yeah, I am pretty drunk. This has been 10-7 MMA. Peace. Smart. Imagine. But no, seriously, though. Tom Aspinall, way better striking. He's got something to avenge. He's got man. If Tom Aspinall loses, it's gonna be fucking devastating. As much as I know you love Curtis Blaydes, I like Curtis Blaydes. I just think he's not the smartest fighter. 5 rounds, there's a lot of time to make a big mistake. You should not strike with Tom Aspinall. And last time, yeah, he's kind of on the pace to win, as short as that fight was. But I feel like that might even be his detriment now. He's gonna think that he's gonna be able to piece up Tom Aspinall. He's not gonna do that. Tom Aspinall will get the knockout at some point.
I mean, here's the biggest issue with it, right, Dino? I don't remember the last time Curtis Blaydes shot a takedown. I really don't. And you know, you look back at he fought Sergey Pavlovich and refused to shoot a takedown.
Oh,
you know, he fought Pavlovich, refused to shoot a takedown. In this fight against Tom Aspinall.
Sergey is crazy, though.
Sergey, you know, that's fine. It's 2024, man. What are you talking about?
No, like, I don't.
If Sir want to be gay, Sir can be gay, fam. You know? I'm just saying. But look, Curtis Blaydes did not want to shoot a takedown against Sergey Pavlovich. He fought Tom Aspinall, and yes, that fight was 15 seconds. That's all it was 15 seconds. But it looked like he was ready to just stand there and exchange in the fucking pocket with this guy. And it's like, dude, that's not what you want to do. The odds, by the way, are fucking egregious. -400 is crazy. I understand the...
Did I say that? I meant to say that. That's fucking insane.
Yeah, I get it because the fans...
It should be like -170 max.
Maybe a -200. Yeah, I'm with you. But, like, here's the thing. Fans love Tom Aspinall. You know, there's a lot of things that go into it. A lot of people think he should be the heavyweight champion of the world. There's a lot of John Jones hate out there, as you know. So that probably factors into it. There's also the people that just want to see the fucking spectacle of Tom Aspinall versus Alex Poatan-Pereira. So I get it. I get why the fans are in love with the guy. I get why they don't necessarily love Curtis Blaydes, but man, I wish he would just go to that wrestling. And then if Tom Aspinall wins on the ground, Tom Aspinall wins on the ground. But I just don't see this fight playing any differently than any Curtis Blaydes fight in the last 3 years. He's going to stand up and try to trade with Tom Aspinall. That shit ain't going to work. So hopefully I'm wrong.
Preach.
The first of 2 Chicago versus England title fights, by the way.
Damn.
Yeah.
Whoa. Shout out Shy City. I'm coming home again. Do you think about me now and then?
Hey.
Do you think about me now and then? Because what?
Because I'm coming home again. Maybe we could start again. Hey, shout out Kanye West. You know?
Mr. West. All right. Let's get right back. Let's get right back to it, brother. We're talking about the main event of the evening. We're talking about the fight that we've all been waiting for. Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad. We know what this fight is, right? We've all been waiting for this goddamn fight. More than anything, at least if you're anything like me, I've been waiting for this fight so that it could be fucking over, so that we could all move on with our lives. 2 decision artists, Leon Edwards, big time cheater. We saw him cheat his ass off versus Kamaru Usman. Multiple fence grabs. Loves to poke the eye. We saw Belal Muhammad in there first. Like, wait. I actually did feel really bad for him. I was very high when I watched that fight. And
I thought he got blinded at
dude,
first.
I thought his eye was going to, like, leak out of that shit. I thought it was going to literally, like, leak out, bro.
Yep.
Motherfucker was crying. And I'm not taking anything away because that seems super scary, bro. But, like, man, I don't, no comment. You know, just man the fuck up. Yeah, listen, Belal, he's got his Mexican boxing now, right? Leon Edwards, devastating kickboxer. Don't let him bully his son. We might hear some of that, right? So here's the thing. Do you think Belal is a better grappler, better wrestler than Kamaru Usman? Probably not, right? But Belal looks to be in great shape, and he surprised me a lot in the last couple fights, man. You say what you will, right? And this is a tough fight to predict, man. It really is. I'm probably not putting my money on this one. It is going to be my birthday, too, for what it's worth. I know I asked you if you want a day drink that day. If not, let me know if you at least want to watch this card together. I got to go with Leon, man. I got to go with Leon purely based on tape, right? Leon's a better striker than Gilbert Burns is. Belal couldn't put away a hurt Gilbert Burns, who was basically three-limbed for the entire fight. Sean Brady. Who's Sean Brady? Like, no striking whatsoever. And we saw Leon beating the fuck out of him in the first fight. Let's be real, man. Sure, Belal's improved. Yes, he's fought. But, like, every single one of his wins, every single one of his fights has an asterisk next to it, in my opinion. So, I understand the Belal hate. Jokes aside, I don't hate the guy. I think he is a very talented. He's a very good fighter. He'll never be champion. I'm just ready to get this shit past us. I'm going to go with Leon Edwards by decision. I mean, with all the memes and shit, the decision odds are probably terrible on this. I haven't looked them up. But I got to go with Leon Edwards. Let's just get this the fuck over with, man. And I hope both these guys after that are a little bit more fucking active. That's all I really want. Belal Muhammad, I think he's going to stick around at the top of this division. I just think Leon Edwards, man. One thing that I think is going to be a big factor is Leon Edwards, when he gets, like, he's long and he's a good striker, right? When grapplers try to go in on him and he gets in on them, right? And then he ends up grabbing them, right? He gets them in the clinch, or it's like a fake clinch almost. And as they're breaking, he throws a devastating elbow. Some of the best elbows, one of the things that's really underrated about Leon Edwards, in my opinion. So I think he's going to do damage. I think Belal is going to take a lot more damage. It's crazy because, like, no matter how it goes, I think it's going to be close, but I think the damage will be worn a lot more by Belal. I got to go with Leon Edwards here. I'm going to go by decision, but I'm not, like, crazy confident.
All right, Dino, can I ask you – I want to ask you two questions before I get into my breakdown here, okay? Leon Edwards, is he better than his brother?
Oh, yeah.
Is he better than Fabian Edwards?
Yes.
Yeah. Is Belal Muhammad better than Johnny Eblen? Just a random thought that I had.
That's a harder question, but I would say probably yeah, man.
Okay, and that's fair. Just wanted to ask that. Now, look, I'm going to do my breakdown here. Leon Edwards, as you said a bunch of these things, but I'm going to repeat them for what it's worth. Well-rounded, long-bodied striker, great head kicks and kicks in general, as we've seen. A good boxer as well, man. Some underrated power and absolutely nasty in the clinch. I said that in the MMA Casuals guide, by the way, so check that out. Great wrestling defense, as we've seen in his fights as of late against Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington. And in those fights, almost as if to show Dino that he wanted to prove that, like, he could wrestle. He took down both Kamaru and Colby Covington. And Kamaru Usman had, like, either never been taken down or it had been like a decade since Kamaru Usman had been taken down, right? Something crazy like that. Leon took him down. For as boring as Leon Edwards can be, he's actually very well-rounded. He's dangerous, and he's really good, man. Then we have Belal, remember the name, Muhammad, a Chicago fighter. So, again, the second of two straight Chicago versus England title fights. He's on a 10-fight unbeaten streak, man. There is the one no contest against Leon Edwards in there, not making that a 10-fight win streak. But he's good, man. He's good. He's got a really good IQ, right? And I don't want to shit on Belal as much as, you know, most people do. I know we've done it a ton here, but he's really smart, man. He's got good IQ. He really picks on his opponent's weaknesses, Dino, and he sticks to a game plan really well, right? If this guy's a really good wrestler, then fuck it. I'm not wrestling him. this guy's a really good striker. Fuck it. I'm not striking him. Like, that's what Belal does. He is a striker at heart. But regardless, he's got a great pace. He's got some decent enough power, and he's improved in his stand-up. And he came into MMA as basically just a wrestler. Both of these guys are talked about as very boring fighters, and that's fine. Neither one of them is very flashy. And if you guys remember back in December, if you watched my drunken rant, by the way, like and subscribe to see more of those, I said I was going to pick against Leon Edwards if he fought against Belal or if he fought against Shavkat the next time. But then after really sitting down and watching film this week, my thoughts on Belal are really based in truth. And you mentioned some of this. He beat a one-armed Gilbert Burns and couldn't finish him. Before that, he outstruck a weirdly tired Sean Brady, who's a guy that has absolutely nothing on the feet, Dino. He beat Vicente Luque, who's a guy that has like crazy brain damage.
On his last legs.
Right, a guy that has some nuts brain damage. He beat a 75-year-old Damian Maia. He laid on top of Wonder Boy. Like, the Wonder Boy fight is impressive for what it's worth. Like, yes, you did beat Wonder Boy. But it was like you took the easiest route possible to do that, which there's no problem with. Again, that speaks to his high IQ. And then I guess the Sean Brady fight was okay, but whatever. These guys all have obvious weaknesses. Leon does not have a weakness. He doesn't like Leon doesn't have that weakness that a lot of these guys have, regardless of the fact, I am also going to pick Leon Edwards in this one. I'm not going to pick him by decision, though. I think he has something to prove at home here. I'm going Leon Edwards by round 3 KO. I think Belal gets frustrated when he can't get a takedown early in this fight. He gets a little bit risky, gets a little bit antsy.
With the Mexican boxing, though.
Well, it is what it is. We seen Canelo lose to Dimitri Bivol, didn't we? And that happened a couple of years ago. So, yeah, Leon KO round 3 is my guess. But look, I'm not shocked if Belal Muhammad wins this fight. I really wouldn't be. He's solid enough, and he's been lucky as hell to this point. Yeah, Leon KO round 3, too sharp on the feet, and really damn good wrestling defense. And that fucking wraps up UFC 304. Holy shit, we've been recording for like an hour and a half almost.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. That's all we got for you. Tune in tomorrow or at the latest the next day after that for the betting breakdown video. Check out the MMA Casuals. Thanks for tuning in. Dino Baby, take us out.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, do us a favor. Hit the like and subscribe button. Ring the little bell. That's going to notify you when our videos drop. You can also follow us on Instagram at the107MMA, the same way it's spelled on this very channel here. Guys, UFC 304 takes place this Saturday in Manchester, England at normal times in America. DS, anything else to say?
That's all, brother.
Guys, he is DS. My name is Dino Bam Bam. We are the 107 MMA. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.